Hello, New York City Charter Schools. This is Tracy Davey with a video webinar on the out of certification and verification reporting requirements. This is a federal requirement each year for every state in our nation to do a certification match. And using level 0 is how our state does this. As always, on our website, we have lots of resources, and we even have a survey regarding our trainings or phone calls. Please, if you're happy or dissatisfied, let us know how we can make it better. Your out of certification report used to be posted for you and published twice a year. Now, as soon as you report your course instructor assignment information level 0, the report will go live in L2 RPT. L2 RPT stands for level 2 reporting. That means the data that is at the state education department. And here's what that login looks like. Your login username is usually a first name dot last name. If you are at a network with multiple schools, you will have a different login for each BEDS code. And then you would set your password. Those passwords do have to be at least 8 characters, including an uppercase, a number, and a special character. Please don't use what you see on the screen. Please make up a nice, safe password. If you need to reset your password, or if you want to test that it's working, you can go to nysed.gov from the main screen and tap on the upper right-hand corner to get to the business portal. And then this is actually the next screenshot. You would tap on reset password. So if you happen to be using a login for your charter leader and you don't have an account of your own, you could queue it up, but it's going to go to their email address and they will be the ones that have to reset the password and then reshare it with you. Especially nowadays under Ed Law 2D and Part 151 Commissioner's regulations regarding student privacy and security, this is not recommended that anyone share any accounts that lead to personally identifiable information. So if you need help getting your own account, we actually have that resource also on our website. I'll show you that in a bit. So the reason we report just about everything is because the state is required to do it for the federal government or for the state's own like accountability regulations to meet the federal guidelines, and because that data will be reported publicly. So let's take a look at what that looks like. I think on this screen, we're looking at like 18-19 data. That year, there were 2.6 million odd students in the building, in the state, over 212,000 teachers, yada, yada, yada. This information falls under the school report card. ESEA stands for the Every Student Succeeds Act. That's what the accountability requirements that all schools across the state have to meet the requirements for. And then you're actually going to see on a middle level and at the high school level, there'll be a button to see staff qualifications. Actually, I take that back. It is for your charter school. I'm thinking of chronic absenteeism. As you see, that's separate for elementary, secondary. So you go down to the second box here. You can tap on just that single area and say build, and then you're going to see the next screen that we have here. Now, what I'm showing you here is statewide data. And I want to point out a couple of very important and useful things on the screen. Under ESSA, experienced teachers and inexperienced principals is referring to anyone who has less than 4 years of experience. And as you can see, that's just reported publicly because that's something that's in the state's ESSA plan. The third section over here is regarding teachers teaching outside of their certification. For your school, now right here, we're looking at the state. Across all of New York State in the 17-18 school year, there were just over 17,000 teachers teaching outside of their subject and field of certification. I want to point out a couple of pieces here. That number, and then they determined a percent for you. This number, 17,189, includes all uncertified teachers at your school. And that's fine, right? You have certifications, exemptions, and you can have uncertified teachers. It includes all of your teachers who are certified, but teaching outside of that exact certification. And this is all copacetic regarding, this is enshrined in education law, that you can take a certified teacher and put them in another class. This used to show up on the out of certification report saying charter other, no cert required, but it always was included in this number. The state just has to be transparent in the numbers, but it is recorded here. So if you have a high school certified English teacher and they're teaching 6th, 7th, 8th grade English at your middle school, they're going to pop up, actually 7th and right? Is it 712 is actually secondary? That 6th grade class is going to put them on this, in that number of teachers teaching outside their certification. On the top of the screen are a couple of helpful hyperlinks. You could download the entire statewide file. That's for 1,000 different school districts and I think like 4,000 buildings. So it's a huge file that's usually grabbed by legislative people, you know, or their minions when they want information for making decisions on education, and newspapers who will write about you guys and the results of all the schools across the state in the newspapers. The part that you're going to like is over here in the glossary. By tapping on the glossary, you'll get the exact definitions of all the terms and the calculations of how the formulas for coming up with the information you see here. And that's true on any page. So for this particular one, I found a charter school who had a particular comment at the bottom. They did not report all of their data for the 17-18 school year, and there was a notation saying so. I have to let you know that I have requested that the state education department add another line here for every charter school that says charter schools are allowed to have a certain percentage of their staff not certified, or to spell it out, the whole rule there would be great too. Anyway, I'm sure they will do that one day, just not yet. So as you probably have seen in the C Weekly, there are multiple templates that must be reported in level 0 in order for the state to determine whether or not your teachers are teaching outside their certification and how many are teaching within it, right? You must report a staff snapshot. We definitely recommend that you do that as soon as possible. On the state's annual timeline, they wanted that data back in November. They wanted you to report it early. You knew who you already had, your teacher school was open, right? They wanted you to get that out of the way so you can, work on other reporting throughout the year. Courses, that also should be reported as soon as possible. If that's data that you reported last year, we can even help you leverage that data coming out of our ReportNet software. Location marking period. This one should take no more than 15 minutes, no matter how big your school is. All the state needs to know in this area is, when can a student finish a class and earn a grade? So you need to, and when you assign a teacher to a class, it has a start date and an end date, and that's what the location marking period is about. And then it helps the state to know when classes end, because they do also collect student grade detail at the end of the year. Course instructor assignment, that one should be done as soon as possible. Course instructor assignment, you absolutely want to have this one in by April 1st. Actually, I know I want you to have that in by April 1st, but if you have it in by April 1st, then you're going to have the month of April to be able to review the data in L2RPT, and we'll take a look at what that is. There's no second chance later in the year to update your data. You need to correct it in level 0. You'll want to, lock it and then go recheck L2RPT to make sure that the data is correct, so that you don't have accidental teachers looking out of certification when they're not. And I'm going to show you what those common errors are. The state does ask for a student class entry exit template to be reported, right, during the time of April also, but that is an end of year requirement, and we would love to see you enter that as soon as possible after all that other work is done. So to see how that other data is used, that's back on the school report card. We're going to look at a student and educator report. And you can see here now, originally, only a handful of classes were being reported for class sizes on the state report card. But since the 18-19 school year, they're showing you something in every grade, K through 8. And you'll see 3 through 8 are all of the state assessment courses, and then all of the state assessed courses with the Regents exam at the high school level. So again, I can't quite emphasize enough that I really want you to get this data in by April 1st so that you have time for corrections, and you can breathe easier on the class entry exit while you're taking the time in April to review L2RPT and that information. So if you need to access L2RPT, but you don't have your own account, all CEOs and principals at your school have that access by default. And your CEO will be able to create additional accounts as needed through the CEDAS entitlements. On our website, there's a section, depending on how your screen lays out. If you're on your phone, it's going to be way down at the bottom. You're going to scroll down a bit. Frequently on a large monitor, you'll see it on the right-hand side. It's under the section called Quick Links, and it's the CEDAS Entitlement Guide. When I went to a new school, I would grab that document, have it open on my computer, sit with my superintendent and say, we're looking for this, that, and the other thing. And we'd set it up and be done within 5 minutes. There are screenshots that you can follow. So this is our daytime Bible at Eastern Suffolk BOCES. It's the New York State Education Department's Student Information Repository System Manual. So when we say SIRS, it's also what is the data warehouse, because it's the Student Information Repository System. This document is 285 pages on its last edition on January 14th. We have it almost memorized, at least many places. We watch every time a new edition comes out, and we reread, make sure we go read all the new pieces. We have it dog-eared. We have it quick and easy to access. If you ask us a question, we will frequently send you an image or text and a link to this document to help explain what you need to know, to answer your question. So right here, we're taking a look at how your staff data flows. And there's all sorts of things, right? It touches all different parts of the data. So let's take a look at it. Once State Ed has your staff snapshot, and there will be a 320 report. This is a quick and easy listing of all the data that you put in the staff snapshot in level 0. From this, they will give you a second report. They will give you a listing of all staff certifications at your school. This is the 329. It will list for you all the active and inactive certifications someone may have. They'll tell you when any certification is about to expire. So the reason the state is able to do this, obviously, because you provide an ID for your teachers in that staff snapshot, and they, queue that information against the teach system, and they report it out on the 329. The beauty of this system being in SIRS versus all the work we used to do in TA and out of certification reporting is that now SIRS is updated at least every month. So if someone just got their certification in the mail this weekend in March, excuse me, it's still February as I'm recording this, and then they run the final out of certification in April, they will be certified for the full school year. In previous years, if a teacher was not certified on Beds Day, the first Wednesday in October, then they were considered out of certification for the entire year. I think what they're doing now makes much more sense, because if a teacher submitted all of their stuff to get their certification in that final, document, they were probably qualified in September, just like they are today. So this is very nice that they fixed it. I'm going to come back and look at the other section in a second. Let's dive into, again, once you have staff snapshot, those 2 reports will be ready immediately. This is a quick view with all PII removed of the SIRS 320 report. Again, it's just information regarding everything you told the state about your staff in the staff snapshot. As soon as that's there, the 329 will also be available. And now in this one, again, hiding all PII, you'll see basic information about your staff name, ID, and date of birth. And then you'll see their certifications. And teachers will have multiple lines. Teachers, faculty, other faculty at your school, even your leaders may have multiple lines if they have multiple certifications. And you'll be able to see exactly what they are. And as I had mentioned previously, you can see effective dates. None of the ones on this particular sample data has an expiration date. It tells you the exact certification area and that title, and then the exact type of certification that they have. Once you add some information, you get your courses in. We have to know, Level 0 has to know the courses that you have at your school. They have to know the marking periods at your school, and then they need to know the exact sections of those classes that are being taught. Like a high school English teacher might have 5 sections of English 9. They might have 2 sections of English 9 and 3 sections of English 10. Whatever it is that they're teaching, that would give them 5 course instructor records. The teachers for like gym, music, art, they're going to have the most course instructor assignment records. Imagine a gym teacher at an elementary school might have, 10 or 12 or more sections, right? If they see every homeroom, so they could have multiple classes. The state does expect this information for all classes at your school that are credit bearing, that show up on a school report card, and are also posted on a school transcript. So if you have a class that does not meet that criteria, then that does not have to be reported. Okay, so once you add that staff course instructor assignment data, there actually was, I didn't quite point that out. There is a confirmation form for that where you'll be able to see the course instructor assignment. Again, this one would just regurgitate what's in the file, but then they do their magic. And now they'll tell you for every teacher of every class, whether or not they're certified for that exact class. Now, I don't have an example of the course instructor assignment template here, but I want to show you the importance of the data that you put in your course instructor assignment files. So if you're creating an assignment for this 2nd grade teacher and they teach ELA and math, you needed to report in course instructor assignment what the primary language for that class is. The state will fill in this column. They're telling you whether or not that staff member is certified based on their staff ID and all their knowledge of the teach system. And they're also going to return for you whether or not you flagged them as a charter exemption in Level 0 in the staff snapshot. And then they go on to look at different pieces of information. FTE is just talking about the full-time equivalent. So this person must just have 1 class on there. The next 3 columns are super important. Again, they are in the course instructor assignment file, each record for each teacher. Every class must have a primary teacher someone, right, is responsible for grading and passing, failing, creating the tests, grading the tests, all of that stuff, right, in every class. So you must tell the state who is the primary teacher in each classroom. There could be more than 1 teacher in a classroom, of course. If you have a 2nd person in the room who has special education assignment in that classroom, right? You have students with an IEP and that person needs to be there. When that person's course instructor assignment comes up, they may or may not be the primary teacher, but if they are the special education teacher, you want to make sure that you flag this, the IND stands for indicator. It's possible that the 2nd person in the room could be an English, excuse me, ENL teacher. If that is the case, you want to make sure you show them the indicator as yes. It's possible to have, of course, 2 primary teachers in the classroom. In that regard, you would just mark them both as primary. One important thing will be that whenever you have multiple teachers in the same room, in the course instructor assignment, you're going to want to make sure that the course code is the same, that course name is the same, and then they have identical course sections. The state prefers course sections to be as numbers, and they're going to be whatever they are at your school. I want to point out here that although in your course template, you might have a particular name for a class, you might have a high school chorus class that is women's select chorus. But when you see it in L2RPT, it's going to have that chorus code and it's just going to say chorus. Your courses should be based on the subject matter being taught in that class. It's not going to match, at least not always, going to be the case where your local name of a class matches the course name in the state catalog exactly. Just make sure that you map your classes to whatever the content subject matter is, when you're picking a course code. Okay, so let's imagine that we have this would be a common error. Maybe a special education teacher has accidentally been tagged as primary, and this class is biology at the high school. They're a K-12 special education certified teacher, and now they're on this list as no, not certified. Then you would want to take a look at the indicators and make sure that this is correct. And in that case, especially if you know the person is certified in special education, the error would probably be that they were accidentally tagged as the primary teacher. Everyone noted as the primary teacher is the state will look for an exact match for that class and subject. Also on this page, the staff IDs, I seem to have lost my mouse, are blue and underlined. Actually, this is true in level 0 and in our ReportNet or Cogno software, and all of them are a hyperlink. If you tap on that, now this is bringing us to that exact same teacher. I now had 2 different windows open on my screen. Here's that 328 out of certification report I was looking at, and here's the just straight up certifications in the 329. And now I can see for that particular teacher, they're a teaching assistant. They actually aren't certified as a elementary teacher, so that's why they popped up as not certified. This is again an example where on the previous out of certification reports, they used to pop up as charter other, no certification required, but you're not going to see that anymore. If this is the person that you designated to be in that class as your charter school, and you can do so, there's nothing else that you need to do. If this person actually had absolutely no certification, you might want to go back and look in the staff snapshot record to determine whether or not you tag them as teaching as a non-certified teacher. They're exempt from being certified because you are a charter school and not everyone has to be certified. All of your certified teachers, none of them need an exemption from being certified because they are certified. I know it's a lot to say. When this opens up, if you tap on a single ID number, you're going to see that single staff person's name here, but there will be a drop down and you could change it to the whole building, which is something I like to do because then I can jump back and forth. When someone calls me, they're trying to understand the report, it's easiest to have it like all available. Again, these out of certification reports are gone. The system is not going to reopen once it closes on April 27th. If you miss that April 27th deadline for having this data in level 0, then your state report card will not have the data reported, even if you add it for the end of year certification, which I would still recommend that you do. But it would not be reported publicly and it would not be included in the data going to the federal government. On our website, just want to point out some more resources. You never ever really need to register or log into our website until we get to have live events in the city and I need to arrange and know who's coming to meet me there for a training. But our little magnifying glass up here is fantastic for finding information quick. Want to take a look at the various templates. Different places and resources that we have for you. Let me clarify that. Also on our website, under resources, You can tap on where it says student and staff accountability and point to the current school year. At the top of that page, you're going to see summary information regarding how many schools have reported data in these categories. From here downward is a list of every school and a count of records per template. So if you're on the, you're watching this webinar and you're a principal and you don't actually have or even want access to reporting the actual data in level 0, you can come here and check on the status of your staff and make sure that the data in all the different categories are being filled in. This should be super helpful to you. If you want to find something fast, use that magnifying glass and type in a keyword, and then it will give you all these references. If when you're up in that top area, you hit an enter, it'll open on a separate page, and then you can open multiple different references, try them if you're not sure which one you want. Otherwise, when you tap here, it's actually going to change the screen on you. Under our quick links is also a link to our videos on the YouTube channel. We want to let you know that it should be pretty easy to find things. If you, especially if you go to the video view where you can see the title of every video on the screen at once. Now by tapping a Control F, it brings up a search bar. Actually, to be honest with you, this works on virtually every document, PDF, and website. You can, and you can do it actually on your iPhone too, if you know how. It's slightly different there. You can search for a word and then it will highlight that for you. So you can, put in OOC for out of certification and find the correct video quickly. This is a view of one of our templates. Specifically here, we're looking at the course instructor assignment template. If you don't have a student management system that is actually recording the data, like when a teacher, takes on a class, when the students are enrolled in a class, if you have a software for that, then you don't need our templates. But if you do not, once you report your courses in your location marking period and your staff snapshot, then we'll be able to give you one line per course. And then you would need to build out how many sections you have of each of those courses. You can see here, there is that primary instructor, here's the ENL instructor, and let's see, primary, I'm not sure where there's the special ed one. We always have directions at top and information to help you. This is a quick view, which is very similar to L2RPT because it's actually the exact same IBM Cognos software. I love this little, search item because that will take you directly to the report that you want. Otherwise, you're usually going to the team content, and then you have to look for the next folder to find the path. You can find it quick and easy using that magnifying glass. So we have various templates right on our website to help you with your reporting. Anything that we have out here does not contain any PII, personally identifiable information for staff or students. And this is just a listing of what's out there. For courses, we have a blank template if you've never done it before, or maybe if you have, you're going to pull down last year's courses from our report nets, and you realize you have new classes and you're not sure what the codes are. Reviewing this template might help you find it. We have different worksheets in it that break it out regarding prior to secondary and then secondary. So that might be a fast and easy way to find a new course code. Location marking period. Okay, so if your school has reported courses in the previous year and you're going to use our extract from level 1 of our data warehouse, that's ReportNet, I literally timed a person where I was on the phone and I did talk them through the process. They were able to download the data, change the school year in the file, and re-import it into level 0 for the current school year in less than 10 minutes. So then you would only have to add like a couple new classes, maybe if you have something new. If you have a class that's not being offered this year, but might come back another year, just let it go, let it ride. It doesn't matter if there's extra courses sitting in there. Location marking period. For the most part, there's usually no more than 3 marking periods that you need. If you are an elementary or middle school rather, and all of your classes, you decide that a student changes to the next grade level at the end of the school year, you only need 1 single location marking period, and it'll take you less than 5 minutes to enter that manually in level 0. If you are a high school, you probably need a fall term, in a spring term where students take PIG and economics, a couple of half-year courses, and they can earn credits. And you probably have others too. You probably have art classes, English classes, a whole slew of things. You would have to let the state know, when does a fall class start? When does it end? When does the spring start? And when does it end? And you probably have full year classes also. If you have trimesters, you probably have at least 4 to enter. If someone can earn a credit in any of those single terms, and then maybe a full year class. I just want to let you know, this is a picture of a technology class from our website. So it's a public picture. And we are a school at Eastern Suffolk BOCES. We have 2 types of programs. We have special education programs and great technology classes. And so as such, we are a local educational agency, and we are fully subject to and compliant with Ed Law 2D. So that's why we bug you and make you use secure courier and stuff whenever you're sending us anything with a teacher or student's ID, name, date of birth. That staff snapshot has a lot of PII in it. We definitely want to protect all of that. And here's a view of how to get to secure courier. So if you create one of these files and then you're having a hard time loading it, at any time you can use our secure courier and send it to us. Just hover over secure, choose that secure courier. If you've never used it before, if you're not sure if you still have a password, you can just create a new account and then send the file to us, and we'll help you to get it in the right order or look for any errors to get it loaded. I mean this sincerely. This is literally a sign on the wall in our office. Call us if you need us. We know that this is technical and can be very frustrating and tedious. We don't want you being stressed out and not getting it done. So call us and we'll keep you up and running. If you have one of these 4 software systems at your school, Infinite Campus, School Tool, eSchool Data, and PowerSchool. These 4 major, I think of them as big dog software systems across the state. When the state education department updates a template or has a new regulation, they invite these software companies in for a webinar, and they tell them what needs to be done. They tell them, your clients need this. Your clients need to report this in level 0 by, right, April something. You need to have it ready much earlier than that. So it's possible that you don't know how to use those reports yet, or possibly that you even need to have some setup work done. Like, are there teach IDs in your software system? Are your courses mapped to a state code? So investing the time to get those details in your software system is worth it, because you don't want to have to create a lot of course instructor assignment records individually. When you are creating your course instructor assignment records, make sure you have your master schedule handy, because that's what it's coming from. It's every class that every teacher teaches. So if you're a large school, it could be a very large file. Also, whenever you need us, the best place to reach us is right here at the top of our website on every page, our phone number and our email address. If you write to this one, it goes to a ticketing system. So if any one of us is out or on vacation or in meetings all afternoon, we can keep track of the mail coming in and respond to as quickly as possible. And then occasionally we don't know the answer, or it's a system that we don't really quite monitor for you or something. So we may sometimes need to refer you to the charter school office. And that is also another link that is on our quick links of the homepage of our website. And then, as I think I've said in every webinar, we don't judge your data, but we will count it. If we know that there's a deadline coming up and we haven't seen, we see that you don't have many records or no records reported yet, we're going to give you an email reminder. as it gets close, we might start calling you. We'll also call you if we see that you have errors in level 0 and your data can't move until those get cleaned up, and offer you help too. So the final deadline for your data this year, I think someone pointed out to me that I was pointing to a Saturday here. So we recommend that you have all your data in for the entire school year at the beginning of July. I mean, here we miss, time because of the 4th of July holiday. The data warehouse really needs to be, we need all your data in there by the 22nd of July. This is the earliest our data warehouse has ever closed over the past 6 years of the project. So please get it in early. The reason we recommend, again, July 1st is so that you have time to review your data before the data gets locked. It's actually going to be locked down after that. The systems will be open. It's open 24/7 unless there's some kind of, technical issue on the weekend when no one can hit reset on it. So it would be open through the 24th. On the 25th, we're going to start, putting it all together and shipping it to the city. We don't really ship it. We, bury it on our server. They have secret passwords to get in, and only they can grab it, and all that good technical stuff that I can't even quite explain. Questions and answers, again, just call us if you have any questions, and a word from our sponsors. Thank you for listening to this video.